We're staying on top of breaking news this morning. People rushing to safety as the Taliban takes over Kabul, Afghanistan.
And in Colorado, thousands of kids head back to school today. What's being done to keep them safe?
Are you concerned that they're waking up a lot at night and needing your support to get back to sleep?
As kids return to school, that means a return to bedtime. Help your kids get a good night's sleep.
We want to get right to this breaking news, and if you want proof of how dire the situation is in Kabul, look no further than this. We have new video from overnight of people chasing a plane as it leaves the runway. Look at this. This is how desperate they are to get to safety. The Afghan government has fallen and the Taliban are taking control. We have word this morning that all personnel have been evacuated from the U.S. Embassy. In about 5 minutes, we'll have details on the U.S. troops now headed to Afghanistan. But now to our other top story. Thousands of students head back to school today. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 16th. I'm Michelle Griego.
I'm Dominic Garcia. Always appreciate you waking up with us. Let's get right over to Ashton for a check on that back to school forecast. Hey, Ashton.
Good morning. It is going to be a dry day for Denver in the Front Range, but it's also going to be a hot one. High temperatures back in the lower to middle 90s coming up this afternoon. The other story is the increasing wildfire smoke. For now, we have a lot of smoke in the northern half of Wyoming. That smoke will be transported south into Colorado as the day goes on. So after getting a break from intense smoke for a few days, it's going to be back today, especially by the end of the day. Again, high temperatures topping out in the 90s. We'll do this again tomorrow and on Wednesday. Then a break in terms of the temperatures at the end of the week. We'll have your full forecast coming up. Right now, let's get a check on your drive. Here's Makenzie.
Hey, good morning. Traffic's starting to pick up a little bit. This is I-25 at Alameda, but still no major issues around the metro area. This is a look at the map. You can see we're seeing a lot of green on all of the major interstates. No active crashes, no major delays so far this morning. So that is the good news if you're heading out the door. The drive times from the north, Thornton to Denver on I-25, still around 8 minutes there. So that is great. And from the south, DTC to University, about 5 minutes. So again, if you are heading out the door to get to work right now, you're in for a great commute.
All right, let's hope it stays that way. Thanks, Makenzie. It is back to the classroom for many more Colorado kids. Today, students in Cherry Creek going to head back to class.
This semester are going to have a lot of changes as schools work to prevent possible COVID outbreaks. Cherry Creek, Aurora, and Adams 12 schools have announced they will require students younger than 12 to wear a mask. That age group is not yet eligible to receive a vaccine. Masks are recommended but not required for older students. Eagle County is taking it a step further by requiring all students, teachers, and staff cover up.
Other districts welcoming students back this week include Westminster Public Schools and Jeffco Public Schools, where students return tomorrow. On Wednesday, the Boulder Valley School District will welcome grades K through 5th, 6th, and 9th. Also on Wednesday, Aurora Public Schools bringing back kindergartners and preschoolers. And then on Thursday, students in Adams County are going to return, as well as the remaining Boulder Valley students. Now, it's not just younger students preparing to go back to class. University of Colorado opening its doors today, so freshmen can start moving into the dorms. But like many public school districts, there are rules in place to prevent a COVID spread. Let's go to Justin Adams, who's live at CU Boulder, his alma mater. Justin, what can freshmen know? What do they need to know today?
Well, number one, what they need to know is that when they move in today, they need to make sure that they have their move-in boxes, and also they need to make sure they bring their mask as well. Here's the reason why: because CU announced on Friday that everyone will be required to wear a mask in indoor public spaces. This mandate is in place even if you have been vaccinated for COVID-19. Students are able to move into their dorms from today until Thursday, and to help reduce the number of students moving in, they had to set up a move-in appointment where they will select which day and time they were coming to campus. Now, if you are moving in this week, here are a couple things to keep in mind. Visitors are not required to show that they have been vaccinated, but it is recommended that they receive the vaccine before entering the residence hall. CU is also asking students to limit the number of people helping them to move in, and elevators will not be available in all residence halls, and this is to help reduce the number of people in the elevator lobbies. Now, CU is requiring all student, staff, and faculty members to receive the COVID vaccine before the start of the fall semester, and the deadline to complete the vaccine requirement process is on September 15th. Now, Michelle, remember, earlier in the show, I had a gift for you. Later on, I have a gift for Dom as well. See, I'm the man who just loves to give, too, so we're going to go and show you that at 6:30.
I was feeling left out. Okay, all right. Thanks, Justin. All right, happening today, CSU students also returned to campus. Students start arriving at the dorms at 8 a.m. University has a strict COVID policy. Staff and students must get vaccinated or get tested twice a week. Everyone has until Wednesday to submit their vaccine exemptions. Masks are required for everyone indoors regardless of vaccine status. And of course, we'll be on top of all your back to school coverage this week. Plus ahead, we're going to talk to a local pediatric neurologist about getting kids back on a schedule.
And we also have help for parents on how to get your kids through back to school anxiety. It's a real thing. We have a hint. The key is leading by example.
And don't forget, you can stay up to date with COVID-19 updates and mask requirements through our CBS Denver app. You can get news alerts along with your weather, sports, also our streaming service, CBSN Denver. Just search CBS Denver News in your app store. The UN Security Council called an emergency meeting for this morning. This comes as the longest war in American history is coming to an unexpectedly sudden halt.
The Taliban have returned to power in Afghanistan, reversing most of the losses they were dealt over nearly 20 years of fighting the U.S. and its allies. Bradley Blackburn has more on the takeover.
Taliban leaders are vowing to restore order a day after seizing control of Afghanistan.
We are not worried because we have the support of the people of Afghanistan.
On Sunday, Taliban fighters swept into the capital city of Kabul, completing an offensive that saw them capture most of the country in a matter of weeks. The push happened as the U.S. withdrew most of its combat forces ahead of an August 31st deadline. Ashraf Ghani, Afghanistan's Western-backed president, fled while his government collapsed. Countless others also tried to escape. Kabul's airport was packed with would-be travelers hoping for a flight out. The White House defended the decision to proceed with the military withdrawal, noting it was part of a deal negotiated by the Trump administration.
Like it or not, there was an agreement that the forces would come out on May 1st. Had we not begun that process, we would have been back at war with the Taliban.
Yesterday, the Pentagon said it's sending another 1,000 troops to Afghanistan to help evacuate Americans, bringing the total deployment to around 6,000. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
A joint statement from the U.S. and more than 60 other nations called on the Taliban to protect civilians. Nearly 2,500 American soldiers have lost their lives during that war.
And we want to talk about the weight of what is happening in Afghanistan right now. This is all going on less than 1 month before the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. It was a tragedy that changed the nation and the world. The Taliban was removed from power after it protected Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. They refused to hand him over, and so the U.S. intervened.
Colorado lawmakers reacting to this unsettling situation happening overseas. Congressman Jason Crow, who represents Colorado's 6th congressional district, also served in Afghanistan, sending out this tweet this morning saying, "My heart has broken. Like most vets, I left part of me in Afghanistan." Later, we'll debate the failures of the last 20 years, but today our mission is clear. Hold the airport as long as possible and get all U.S. citizens and as many Afghan partners out as we can. We'll debate the rest later. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll have more reaction from Colorado lawmakers, including the criticism one congressman tweeted out of the president for President Biden's response. We'll have that coming up.
In other news, right now, I-70 through Glenwood Canyon is finally back open after massive mudslides shut it down for more than 2 weeks. CDOT has opened 1 lane in each direction while crews continue to clear and repair the road. Drivers are urged to take it slow as the dust there continues to reduce visibility in the area. Major repairs are expected to continue along that stretch of the interstate until Thanksgiving. The state is seeking $116 million in federal aid to repair that damage. CDOT had closed that stretch of the interstate just before 5 last night in anticipation of possible debris flow from the Grizzly Creek burn scar. They reopened it about 25 minutes later.
All right, let's go outside right now. 6:09. We got about 64 degrees outside. Nice shot from our Lookout Mountain Cam, and Ashton, I can never tell if that's clouds or smoke or what.
Or smog,
You're right. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you name it. It's going to be hazy again today, but I'll tell you, by the end of the day, a lot of what we have outside is, I'm afraid, going to be wildfire smoke again, coming mainly from the Dixie Fire in Northern California. This morning, not so bad on the smoke situation, and we've had a break over the last few days. We have not seen or been breathing all that much smoke, but that's going to change, I'm afraid, as the day goes on. Meanwhile, the shower and thunderstorm activity we had overnight in southwest Colorado has largely wrapped up, but there are still a few showers down that way, mainly west of Telluride this morning. Here along the Front Range, a couple of clouds, but for the most part, the weather's very quiet and it's quite mild for back to school in Cherry Creek and in other districts today. A lot of other kids have one more week of summer break, but for kids going back today, temps in the 50s and 60s. It's 59 in Lakewood, 59 in Aurora. It's 55 right now in Weld County and Firestone. By 9 a.m. we'll be at 75 degrees. By noon, 86, and a high temperature today of 93 with increasing wildfire smoke. Michelle and Dominic, initially, a lot of that smoke's going to be up high. So I think all we're really going to notice is the sky turning more white instead of blue. But then as we get into this evening, that smoke will mix down to the surface and you're going to start noticing it again. We're talking burning eyes, tingly throats, running noses, all of that coming back over the next couple of days, and plenty of big heat to go along with the smoke. We'll talk more about this coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one. No sweaters for all those students headed back to school today, though, right?
We'll get there.
All right, Ashton, thanks so much. And for all of those students heading back, we do have some important safety reminders for drivers.
Plus, the desperate search for survivors continues after a devastating earthquake in Haiti as that island nation braces for another threat.
And let's take another live look outside at the state capitol there. Beautiful shot, even though we're seeing those hazy skies. You're watching CBS4 This Morning. We'll be right back.
Tonight's lineup sponsored by Furniture Row. Shop the largest selection at the lowest prices guaranteed. Only at Furniture Row.
In Thornton, a man is accused of driving a U-Haul while drunk, then crashing it into another vehicle. The tip came in yesterday morning as a reported kidnapping with a woman tied up in the U-Haul. Police found the truck near 92nd and Lowell and tried to pull it over, but they say Kyle O'Donnell refused to stop. That's when he crashed into another truck and injured that driver. Police tell us there was a woman in the back of the U-Haul, but she was not tied up and is O'Donnell's wife. He now faces several charges, including DUI and violation of a protection order.
New study shows that Colorado ranks in the top 10 in the nation for health care, and this comes as the world still tackles the coronavirus pandemic. So this study from Wallet Hub revealed the average American spending more than $11,000 per year on personal health care. The personal finance website put Colorado at number 7 based on health care cost, accessibility, and outcome. Massachusetts came in first, and Alabama ranked last.
Right now, rescue workers are searching for survivors from that powerful earthquake in Haiti. The death toll is now more than 1,300 and thousands are injured. The epicenter of the 7.2 magnitude quake was less than 100 miles west of the capital of Port-au-Prince. The U.S. Coast Guard and volunteers are delivering medical supplies.
When we hear of a crisis, that we're able to respond as quickly as we can and continue the support that we give on a regular basis, but in a way that meets the needs down there.
Hundreds are still missing. The help arrives as the country braces for Tropical Depression Grace, and that's expected to dump heavy rain starting tonight, bringing with it the potential for landslides and flooding. And let's get a check on that tropical depression with Ashton.
We have Grace near Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and then farther north we also have Fred, who is approaching Florida. This is a live look at Sandestin, Florida. You can see the waves there this morning, a little bit more active than they would usually be. The storm about 150 miles south of the Florida Panhandle, approaching Panama City and Pensacola this morning. It's going to make its way north through Alabama, parts of Georgia, and on up into northern North Carolina as well as Tennessee there. Big rainmaker for that part of the country. Back here in our part of the country, we're talking about smoke making a return. After a break over the last few days, we're going to start seeing and breathing wildfire smoke, I'm afraid to say again today. For this morning, the worst of it's going to be in Wyoming, especially north of Casper, so northern Wyoming. But then as time goes on, we're going to bring more and more smoke into Colorado today. The sky will definitely appear white this afternoon. A lot of that smoke's going to be aloft initially, but then it'll start making its way down to the surface. And we're talking at least moderate, if not thick wildfire smoke. And some of the worst of it may actually be on the eastern plains later today. Could get a surge of smoke coming toward Denver overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And then overall, between today and tomorrow, I think the smoke will probably be more noticeable tomorrow. But it's going to be smoking hot both days here as we start this week with temperatures in the 90s with that wildfire smoke present. So we've got high pressure over Nevada. Colorado. That big fire continuing to burn north of Lake Tahoe, the Dixie Fire in California. We've got the smoke coming over the top of the ridge, initially into Wyoming this morning, and then down into Colorado as time goes on today. And then as we get into the middle and end of this week, our attention turns to a cold front that'll come in Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This front will drop temperatures 10 to 15 degrees, so we're going to land in the 80s for high temperatures at the end of the week. Front will also cause a very good chance for widespread showers and thunderstorms in Colorado on Thursday. Thursday is probably going to be our wettest day of the week. We can see a few showers or storms in Denver on Wednesday as well. For today and tomorrow, storm activity in the state will be limited to the mountains. 30, maybe 40% chance for late day thunderstorms in the high country today, but nothing for Denver, the Front Range, the Eastern Plains will all stay dry most likely until at least Wednesday. It's going to be a hot one today. 93 in Denver, 90 in Boulder, 92 in Fort Collins. Mountain areas warming up as well. 75 in Frisco, 86 in Steamboat Springs, 82 in Gunnison later today. Map for tomorrow doesn't look all that much different. We'll probably climb at least another degree or two for many of us, and it's going to just turn exceptionally hot north of our state. Rapid City, 105 at Mount Rushmore coming up tomorrow. And then here's Wednesday, 93 degrees in Denver, 100 in La Junta, 96 in Ray, and 75 in Frisco. After Wednesday, that front comes through, and we drop down to 84 on Thursday with a much better chance for showers and thunderstorms. 30% chance for storms to wrap up the week on Friday. Is it too early to talk about the weekend? Nah, it's never too early. We'll go 87 Saturday, 88 on Sunday. About a 20 to 30% chance for storms this weekend. At least that's the way it looks right now. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, never too early.
Never.
Oh, yeah. We could talk about it on Monday.
This weekend, the weekend after that, and I'll talk about any weekend you want.
Why not?
All right, well, this week and for the next few months, you'll probably drive to work and go through a school zone.
Yeah, this summer, drivers didn't really have to worry about slowing down in school zones, but of course, that changes this week. Safety in school zones is so important, and Makenzie is making it part of her Getting to Work headlines.
Yeah, good morning. So kids are heading back to school, and of course, that means it's time to get back into that routine as well. But these reminders apply to all drivers as kids will be walking, taking the bus, or even getting dropped off at school. The National Safety Council has these reminders to prevent young kids from getting seriously hurt or worse while getting to school. So if you're waiting at a red light, do not block the crosswalk. It could force kids into traffic to get around your car. Never pass a vehicle stopped for pedestrians, and take extra care to look out for children. As we know, kids are often predictable. They tend to ignore hazards and take risks. So this is just a reminder to adults to be the responsible ones on the roads. And whether it's school or work, we just want to share these reminders so that everyone can get where they're going safely. And of course, speeding is always such a big thing. We know a lot of police departments will be keeping an eye on that as well.
Yeah, that's good. Just slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down. We also want to give you guys a look at Copter 4. We have a traffic alert this morning right now. There is a semi on fire at Wadsworth Boulevard on I-70. You can see firefighters are on scene. They just got that fire put out. It's not causing too many delays, but if you are driving westbound on I-70 near Wadsworth, this will be on the shoulder there. So do take care.
It'll probably take a little while to clean up.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Makenzie. Well, you can now ride in style if you're traveling from Denver to Moab.
Yeah, a new luxury train hit the tracks this weekend, and it's expected to be a big economic boost for Colorado. The Rocky Mountaineer is based out of Canada, so this is its debut in the United States. Tickets start around $1,200 per person. That's a lot. And I guess they can sit back and enjoy some stunning views while wining and dining on locally inspired food. The train also features an overnight stay in Glenwood Springs.
We know we're going to have a great partnership with them, and the fact that we get to help support that community that has been going through such rough times, that is just heartwarming to us.
The Rocky Mountaineer's inaugural season will run until mid-November.
Better be some good food on there for $1,200
Better
bucks.
be. That's a lot of money.
All right, 6:21 right now. We got 64 degrees outside.
As COVID cases continue to surge, just how soon you can get a booster shot and the places offering them right now.
Hello, house guest.
Well, parents, for the past few months, your kids might have been able to push back their bedtime in the name of more fun.
That's over now. School back in session this week, and that means regular bedtime reinstated. And on CBSN, we spoke with a pediatric neurologist about getting kids back on track.
Screens can be very, we enjoy it and it's relaxing, but at the same time, it's very stimulating to our brains and can affect our sleep quality and even our ability to fall asleep. So having a relaxing, screen-free, consistent routine, because even if you're tired, your brain does need some time to wind down. So giving yourself 20, 30 minutes to kind of ease in each night is a great idea. And that applies to moms and dads too, not just the kiddos.
I'm glad she
We
threw
need the
that in
sleep
there.
too.
Right. All right, Dr. Jessica Litwin also said having a consistent routine is really important.
It is very important. I told my little one, she starts tomorrow, I told her, enjoy tonight. This is your last night.
And then you guys went to bed at the same time.
And then we went to bed at the same time. She woke me up. Anyway, let's get a check on the forecast right now. It's actually the dog walk forecast. What, Ashton? You send the kids off and then you go take your dog for a walk?
You mean the dogs are going to have to adjust to the new schedule here as well. They're like, wait, what? We're going out already? This early? Great. This is Siggy helping us out. Want to thank Kenneth Martinez from Fort Garland for sharing Siggy with us. Her favorite part of the day is when she gets to pull her dad out for their 2-mile walk. All right, now that is a dog walk, 2 miles. We got the green pall through most of the day. We'll go to a yellow pall mid to late afternoon as we increase the amount of wildfire smoke across the state. That's today's big story. It's not only going to be hot with highs in the 90s, the smoke makes a comeback. So the earlier you can get the dog walk in, the better. Remember, cbsdenver.com/dogwalk for all the details on how to get your pup right here in the dog walk forecast.
All right, Ashton, thanks so much. And with the booster shots now approved for people with weakened immune systems, CVS and Walgreens already taking appointments for those who are immunocompromised. Now, people should bring their vaccination card with them and attest to their eligibility. Their doses can only be given at least 4 weeks after getting the second dose and should be the same brand as the previous shots. Walgreens says it's offering walk-in appointments for a third shot.
Happening today, the Biden administration is expected to announce the largest permanent increase in food stamp benefits. Starting in October, the average amount per recipient will rise from $121 to approximately $157 a month. That is an increase of more than 25%. The aid will apply to all 42 million Americans covered under the program. It is 6:27 right now, 64 degrees outside.
And today is a big day for college students in Colorado. Both CU and CSU welcome students back to the dorms today ahead of a look at the strict COVID policies aimed at keeping students and staff safe.
And before we go, we want to take a look outside at our mousetrap cam. You're watching CBS4 This Morning, 6:28. We'll be right back. Chaos in Afghanistan. The Taliban has taken over the capital. Straight ahead, the latest push from the U.S. to get Americans and allies out safely.
Students can move in today to their dorms at the University of Colorado, and I'll tell you why. Not only do they need to make sure they have their boxes to move in, but they also need to grab their mask.
I'm tracking the roads for your Monday morning commute before you head out the door.
And good morning from Colorado's Weather Center. 64 degrees in Denver. The sun's been up for about 15 minutes. The big story today is heat and a comeback of the smoke. Your forecast is straight ahead.
Plus, hospital beds filling up across the country as COVID-19 continues to surge.
From Colorado's News Channel, this is CBS4 This Morning.
Morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 16th. I'm Dominic Garcia.
And I'm Michelle Griego. Thanks so much for waking up with us. We're so glad you're here. And Ashton, we're going to get a check on our weather right now. Hey there.
Good morning to you, Michelle, and welcome. It's great to have you with us. So over the weekend, we got a break from the wildfire smoke. We didn't get a break from the heat, but we got a break from the smoke. And today, that smoke starts coming back. It's in Wyoming right now, northern Wyoming, mainly north of Casper. As the day goes on, that smoke will make its way into Colorado, and we'll definitely notice it by the end of the day. Checking in with a few of our weather watchers, Tammy Smith in Brighton reporting 56 this morning. Jeff in Thornton, he's watching. He's got 61 degrees this morning. Ward Atwell in Lakewood, our best dressed weather watcher, he has 63. And Richard Harvey in Denver's Lowry neighborhood, right at 60 there on the east side of town for today. So summer fun forecast is back to school for many kids. Other kids have their final week of break, including DPS. 9 a.m. in Denver, 75 by noon, 86, and a high temperature today of 93. So smoking hot to start the week. Let's get over to Makenzie. She's in the traffic center with the latest on your Monday morning drive.
Hey, good morning. This is usually a problem spot this time of the morning. I-25 southbound near 84th. You can see traffic is moving, and so far we aren't seeing any issues in this area, so that is some good news this Monday morning. All across the metro area, speeds are basically in the green except for those problem spots there in I-270. No crashes, no delays. We did have that semi-fire off of I-70 in Wadsworth that was causing a little bit of backups. They're still cleaning that up, but you can see there they're not causing any major delays as well.
Makenzie, thank you. A rise in COVID cases has some districts updating their mask policies. Cherry Creek, Aurora, and Adams 12 schools have announced they will require students younger than 12 to wear a mask. That age group is not yet eligible to receive a vaccine. Masks are recommended but not required for older students. Eagle County is taking it a step further by requiring all students, teachers, and staff cover up. Because of this latest policy, there will be an increased law enforcement presence in Eagle County schools. And this, of course, is to ease any tensions following that announcement.
Yeah, mask requirements in the classroom led to aggression, even violence in other parts of the country. School district released a statement saying they hope to keep this issue apolitical and keep their students and staff safe. They went on to say they do support parents who wish to protest the mask policy, but they ask they avoid protesting in front of schools so kids can have a stress-free first day back.
It's not just younger students preparing to head back to class. The University of Colorado is opening its doors today so people can start moving into their dorms. But like many public school districts, new rules are in place to prevent a COVID spread. And let's go right over to Justin Adams. He's got the big box there, joining us live from CU's campus in Boulder. And Justin, what do these incoming freshmen need to know, and what's in that box?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what's in the box in a moment, Michelle. I think you're going to like this. But what students do need to know is this. Number one, make sure you do have your box for all your belongings so you can put them away. And number two, you need to make sure you bring your mask as well. And this is why. That's because CU announced on Friday that everyone will be required to wear a mask in indoor public spaces. This mandate is in place even if you have been vaccinated for COVID-19. Students are able to move into their dorms from today until Thursday. And to help reduce the number of students moving in, they had to set up a move-in appointment where they would select which day and time they were coming to campus. Now, if you are moving in this week, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. Visitors are not required to show that they have been vaccinated, but it is recommended they receive the vaccine before entering the residence halls. CU is also asking students to limit the number of people moving in, and elevators will not be available in all residence halls, and this is to help reduce the number of people in the elevator lobbies. Now, CU is requiring all students, staff, and faculty members to receive the COVID vaccine before the start of the fall semester, and the deadline to complete the vaccine requirement process is on September 15th. Now, Michelle and Dom as well, I did promise that I will tell you what else do I do have in this box. Michelle, I gave you a Montbello High School polo earlier, and Dom, I got something special for you. You ready for this?
Dom's ready.
What is it?
All right, Dom, here you go. So inside this box, I have this wonderful University of Colorado hat, man, because, you know, brother, I know that you went to CSU, and so I just wanted to make sure that you had, you know, a hat from the winning school, just to make sure that you're taken care of.
I think he's trying to start a fight.
They're giving those things out for free.
I think he's trying to start a fight. He knows we went to George Washington now. And then he knows we went to CSU, and he's giving you a CU hat. Luckily, it says Colorado.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right, we're going to decorate your desk in green and gold. And speaking of green and gold, CSU students, they're returning to campus as well. Students start arriving to the dorms at 8 a.m. The university does have a strict COVID policy. Staff and students must get vaccinated or get tested twice a week. Everyone has until this Wednesday to submit their vaccine exemptions, and masks are required for everyone indoors, regardless of vaccine status. This morning, an emergency meeting has been called by the UN Security Council in regards to Taliban leaders seizing control of Afghanistan. Just yesterday, Taliban fighters swept into the capital city of Kabul. This happening after the U.S. withdrew most of its combat forces ahead of an August 31st deadline to do so. Afghanistan's Western-backed president fled while his government collapsed. Countless others also tried to escape, and you can see Kabul's airport was just packed with would-be travelers hoping for a flight out. Last night, the State Department said all embassy personnel had been relocated to the airport.
Afghan Americans here in Colorado say they are deeply concerned for their friends and family in Afghanistan. So much so, many of them rallied at the state capitol on Saturday to bring attention to what's happening overseas. Sharifi is a former Afghan journalist who spent years as an interpreter for the U.S. and NATO forces. He sees the recent Taliban takeover as the beginning of a dark chapter for Afghanistan.
They won't be able to express their ideas, and the women are not going to be allowed to do the education. So whatever we've achieved in the last 20 years, that's all came back to zero. And we will be starting it from zero.
Tamim Aslami left Afghanistan in 1982, says he's focusing on his daughters. He leans on his faith and hopes for a better tomorrow.
Keep telling her how blessed we are to be in the United States, practicing Islam in the way that it should be, in a manner that it should be, not the religion being imposed on you.
Those who spoke at the rally say they'll continue to raise awareness here as they wait for the next steps.
Congressman Jason Crow responding to the crisis by tweeting the U.S. mission is to hold the airport as long as possible and evacuate U.S. citizens and Afghan partners. Meanwhile, Congressman Ken Buck is criticizing President Biden. He tweeted, quote, "The Taliban is taking over Afghanistan and President Biden is on vacation." A senior administration official says President Biden is expected to address the nation in the next few days.
All right, now to the latest on COVID across the country. Healthcare is really hurting in America's hotspots. 77% of ICU beds nationwide are full as COVID continues to surge. 90% of those hospitalized are not vaccinated. Deaths also spiking, up 155% in the past month. Now, that shortage of hospital beds also impacting families in Colorado who need attention for things other than COVID. Chris Mikesel and his husband went to Swedish Medical Center Saturday night to treat a blood clot that developed after Chris's husband had knee surgery. They were surprised to learn there were no available beds at the time. Dr. Reginald Washington is the chief medical officer for Health One Presbyterian St. Luke's Medical Center. He says there are plans in place so all patients can still get the attention they need, but there is a simple way to make sure hospitals don't get overwhelmed.
My personal plea would be to get a vaccine if you're eligible to do so, and wear a mask even if you've been vaccinated.
Dr. Washington says one reason he thinks HCA hospitals have been busy lately is because people are finally getting elective procedures done after putting them off during the pandemic. Don't forget, you can stay up to date with COVID-19 updates and mask requirements through the CBS Denver app. You can get news alerts along with weather, sports, and our streaming service, CBSN Denver. Just search CBS Denver News in your app store. All right, let's go back outside right now, 640. Look outside from Lookout Mountain as the sun comes up, 64 degrees outside. And Ashton, how's it feeling outside right now?
Right now it feels pretty good. A little bit of a breeze, comfortable temperatures. It's a great time of the day, in my opinion. Later on, it's going to get awfully hot, and I'm afraid the wildfire smoke is going to increase quite a bit later today. We're going to lose the visibility, and by the end of the day, we may not see the foothills and the mountains that we have a pretty decent view of this morning. Can actually see the top of Mount Evans west of Denver, closest of the 14ers, of course, to town. It's 63 degrees right now in Lakewood. The same thing in Littleton. It's 60 in Parker and 55 currently in Firestone, just north of there in Windsor. It's 59 degrees nearby Timnath, about the same. It's going to warm up fast today. By 9 a.m. we'll be in the upper 70s. By noon, we'll be close to 90. And then a high temperature in the lower to middle 90s coming up this afternoon. Similar temperatures to what we experienced yesterday. So if you thought Sunday was hot, and many of us did, you're going to think today's hot for sure. Futurecast is also showing a couple thunderstorms developing in the mountains this afternoon. We have about a 20-30% chance for a storm in the high country, but nothing for Denver in the Front Range. We're going to keep it dry for the first day back to school for Cherry Creek and other kids for today. Tomorrow, another mainly dry day. And then Wednesday, a summer cold front starts approaching. It's a summer cold front, Michelle and Dominic, so keep your expectations in check. But that front will change things up for the end of the week. We'll talk more about that coming up.
Sounds good, Ashton. Thanks so much. And now here is a look at sports.
Time now for the Ford Sports Break.
The Rockies had a rare opportunity yesterday. A win against the Giants would mean that they would have won back-to-back road games for just the third time all season. Yay, Rockies road games! Rockies were down 3-0 in the 7th when we had 2 on, 2 out for Elias Diaz. Maybe we got something going here. That's a single to score Garrett Hampson. Rockies would finally get on the board. Next batter, Charlie Blackmon. That's an RBI single to center field. Jonathan Daza come on down. Rockies all of a sudden within a run. Very next batter, Connor Joe trying to keep it going. Singles to right field. Elias Diaz hustling home, but he would not make it. He would be thrown out. That would end the inning, and that's as close as the Rockies would get. Bottom 7, Austin Slater with no outs, and Chris Bryant on second, doubles to right field. Giants go on to score 2 runs in the 7th as they get a 5-2 victory. Rockies go 1-5 on their 6-game road trip and manage just 11 runs in those 6 games.
This year on the road, we've just had a very tough time scoring runs. And, we're finding some things out about our position players, a lot of our lesser service time guys, some of the, the home road splits that we're looking at. And, we got to do better.
Good news for the Rockies is they have an opportunity to do better when they return home tonight for the start of a 3-game series against the Padres.
That was the Ford Sports Break, powered by the F-150 with best-in-class capabilities. No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks for 44 years. Build better, build stronger, build Ford tough, and only at your local Ford stores.
18-wheelers, semi-trucks, big rigs, tractor-trailers, whatever you call them. Getting in an accident with one of these trucks is going to be serious and complicated.
Well, the coronavirus's summer surge has begun to really take a toll on businesses. According to the Wall Street Journal, the affected industries are diverse. They range from fast food to travel. Hotel and airlines say they've been getting fewer bookings as the number of infections rise. Food producers and others say they're still dealing with supply chain problems, and now they're also seeing a rise in employee absenteeism.
Better check your freezer. Pre-cooked frozen shrimp that could potentially be tainted with salmonella is the subject of a nationwide recall. And the affected products are all made by Avanti Frozen Foods. They were sold under a variety of brand names at stores like Whole Foods, Target, and Hannaford's. The recall is connected to an earlier outbreak of salmonella that was thought to have been contained last month. All right, let's get a check on our weather now with Ashton.
Good morning to you, Michelle. And hey there, Dom. Hope you had a great weekend. 64 degrees right now downtown at Coors Field. The sun's been up for about a half an hour now. And as we were talking about just a short time ago, the Rockies coming home today, taking on San Diego tonight. First pitch temperature first pitch at 6:40 will be 87. It'd be great if it was 64 in my opinion, but no, it'll be 87 at first pitch, 76 by the ninth inning. Hazy, smoky skies with pretty much zero chance for any rain for tonight's game. Smoke forecast showing quite a bit of wildfire smoke originating from California and northern Wyoming today. As the day goes on, that smoke's going to make its way southward. Initially, it's going to be pretty high, so the sky's just going to appear more white instead of blue later today. And then as we get into the evening hours, you're probably going to start to notice that smoke because we're really going to start breathing it again, and we could get a surge of it going into tomorrow morning. Hot and smoky, that's really the story here for the start of the week. Hopefully you enjoyed the break from the wildfire smoke we had for several days because it really makes a big comeback for today. And the reason why is high pressure that was over Utah most of the weekend is now over Nevada. We've got the big fire, the Dixie Fire north of Lake Tahoe in California. Smoke from that fire making its way over the top of the ridge into Wyoming this morning. And then again, as time goes on today, we're going to watch that smoke move southward into Colorado. As we get into Wednesday and the end of the week, we're going to watch a cold front move in. So our focus will shift again to cooler weather. Highs in the 80s instead of the 90s for the end of the week. Pretty good chance for seeing showers and thunderstorms over a good portion of Colorado on Thursday. Behind that front, we could have a few storms around here on Wednesday as well. But today and tomorrow look dry for Denver in the Front Range. 20 to 30% chance for seeing thunderstorms in the mountains coming up this afternoon. We'll do that again coming up tomorrow. Let's talk about temperatures. It's going to be on the very warm to hot side. All depends on your tolerance. Most of us will call it hot. Some will just call it warm. Either way, it's going to be 93 in Denver today. 70s and 80s in the mountains, 90s on the western slope. The debate over what's warm and what's hot can go on all summer. Tomorrow, even more of us will call it hot. 95 tomorrow. Look how hot it'll be north of us. Rapid City, 105 at Mount Rushmore for Tuesday. And then Wednesday, in the lower 90s ahead of that front that'll come in from Wyoming, and behind that front we drop to 84 going into Thursday. 83 on Friday. You can see the storm chances there for the end of the week. They reach 50% coming up on Thursday.
All right, Ashton, thanks so much. And a lot of you probably noticed a new face sitting next to me this morning. This is Michelle Griego. We're so happy to have you. No stranger to Denver. Used to work at CBS4 about 10 years ago. We're happy to welcome you back home. You grew up here in Denver.
Yes.
You actually got your start in TV at a very young age. You
Crazy,
were
right?
11. This was a segment on, this is when we get to embarrass you, on Channel 2. This was called 2 Bits. Take a look.
News for kids by kids. Here's 2 Bits with Michelle Gutierrez. Entries for the 16th annual Anti-Crime Poster Contest will be displayed at the University Hills Mall today through April 30th. The contest, sponsored by the Denver District Attorney's Office, was open to all Denver public school and private school students. This year's theme is Gangbusters. Congratulations to Francine Furman and Jeremy Craig, students at Molly Drive Elementary. They were selected to join the District 12 Half Pint Jazz Band. For 2 Bits, I'm Michelle Gutierrez.
And make sure to catch us tomorrow because Michelle's bringing back that haircut.
Yes. Why not?
outfit, the
Right?
wardrobe, the music. You're going to bring it all back. Right?
And the voice. Hopefully I've improved since then. I don't know.
Did that air at like 1 or 2 a.m. or when did
No,
that?
Ashton. It was before the kids went off to school in the
okay.
morning,
Oh,
the
I see.
cartoons,
All
and then in the afternoon. I know, it's so crazy that you brought that back, but that's really where I fell in love with news.
I'll bet.
I know. So I knew I wanted to do that. I did that for 2.5 years, which is crazy. So
This is truly a dream come true.
A dream come true, and I'm back in my hometown, and I'm back at my home station because I call Channel 4 my home station since, I worked here almost 8 years before I left. Yeah. So.
Well, we are so glad to have you, and welcome back.
You guys have been
and I know
great.
your family and your many cousins that I've met out in the field.
A big group of people.
I know. And Dom knows my mom. They go way back. I mean, it's all good.
It's a family thing here.
I know, and I'm so happy to be back around family, but most importantly, I'm really happy to be back in the land of chili because I didn't have a lot of green chili out there, so I can't wait to get my bushels,
Yeah, Northern California,
roast
right. A
it,
little different.
put it in the little baggies, and then freeze it for the
Welcome
rest of the
home.
year. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, last year, more kids dealt with anxiety during COVID. This morning, we're going to hear from a local expert about how to help your kids through this.
From out of nowhere, a semi-truck hit me. Our vehicle flew 100.
I-70 through Glenwood Canyon finally back open after a massive mudslide shut it down for more than 2 weeks. CDOT has opened one lane in each direction while crews continue to clear and repair that road. Drivers urged to take it slow as dust continues to reduce visibility in that area. Major repairs expected to continue along that stretch of the interstate until Thanksgiving. The state is seeking $116 million in federal aid to repair all that damage.
This week, officials in Larimer County are set to meet and discuss changes to its landscape caused by the state's largest wildfire. The Cameron Peak fire damaged large parts of the county, including areas uphill from Glen Haven. When the rain comes down there, water washes out roads and causes flooding. Neighbors say rebuilding a culvert will cost around $40,000. While these are private roads, county leaders want to help by connecting neighbors with resources.
We have to start rethinking about when a disaster like this happens, kind of a Western model, that, we have years of recovery afterward.
People living near these burn scars say they will continue to dig out of washouts and mudslides while they work with leaders to secure aid.
Coming up, we'll check on one of our top stories. That is the Taliban takes over in Afghanistan. We'll have new information this morning on how many people have been killed trying to get to safety.
Closed caption.
One of our top stories this morning is the crisis in Afghanistan. At the top of the hour, we shared this video of people running alongside a plane as people rush to get to safety. Well, we just learned at least 5 people have been killed in the chaos at Kabul International Airport. President Biden is deploying another 1,000 troops to Kabul to help with this evacuation. Taliban fighters took over the presidential palace in Kabul Sunday as the United States involvement in Afghanistan comes to an abrupt end. Helicopters flew over the U.S. Embassy as part of an effort to evacuate personnel. Well, students in Cherry Creek going to head back to class today. District, along with Aurora and Adams 12 schools, have announced they will require younger students or students younger than 12 to wear a mask. That age group not yet eligible to receive a vaccine. Masks are recommended but not required for older students. Eagle County taking it a step further by requiring that all students, teachers, and staff cover up. Normally back to school, an exciting time for kids to reconnect with their friends, but coronavirus adds something else for students to think about.
Yeah, for some it can lead to anxiety or just another layer of stress. And on CBSN, we spoke with a clinical psychologist about what parents can do to help your kids cope.
Kids are an emotional barometer and they reflect what their parents feel. So when parents are feeling intensely, be it good or bad, about a particular issue, the kids feel it too, although they don't have the words or the thinking around why it's so stressful. So they just feel the stress or the heightened arousal. And so what parents can do is really take care of themselves and try and exercise good self-care so that when they're around their kids, what their kids pick up from them is maybe a measure of anxiety, which is healthy, but also a sense of mastery. And we can do this, and we can do this together as a family, as a team.
Yeah, the kids are always watching and they're learning from you. Dr. Annette Gava says routines are important, but she encourages parents to find moments of fun and, of course, a little relief. You have to have a little fun with it, right?
I got to try to, yeah.
You got to try to.